for these old eyes.
Can you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, May 13th. It is just about 7:30. We had come from executive session discussing boards, commission, and committee vacancies, and we just earlier had a little ceremony outside, a little reception for the first two, well, really the first and the second, but first two items on our agenda that we'll get to, not necessarily in order. We are going to move right into. All right, so Chris, let's go to resolution number 2, please.
Okay.
Considering the appointment of a police lieutenant.
Now therefore be it resolved that Christopher Rowe is hereby appointed to the position of police lieutenant with the Village of Rye Brook, subject to the civil service procedures of the state of New York and according to the offer letter dated May 7th, 2025. And be it further resolved that the annual salary is $182,000 with an effective start date of May 14th, 2025.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
So, before we vote on this, I just want to say, we've had a lot of changeover in our police department. I'm saying this more for the people at home. I think most of the people in this room actually know this. I don't have to say this. But we've had a lot of turnover in our police force, really starting with the retirement of Greg Austin, Chief Austin. We were very lucky to have Eric Dangler step up to be our chief in the Village of Rye Brook. With the subsequent retirement of Lieutenant John Arnold, we've also been without a police lieutenant. We're very lucky and very happy to be appointing Lieutenant Rue tonight. We sit up here a lot, and for the people in this room, you've heard me say it ad nauseum that, we on the village board are very proud of the police force we have in Rye Brook. You've also heard me say many times that we as a board are committed to trying to fill our police force and trying to make sure that our positions that we have are filled, making sure we're up to full staffing. I think what we're doing tonight is really helping to fulfill that vision. It's very important to us on Village Board to have this wonderful police force that we have in Rye Brook. We feel very lucky to have it. And now we know we have leadership in place, well respected by the community, well respected by the police force, to be able to continue the mission here in Rye Brook. So I just want to say thank you. We'll say congratulations. There's more we have to do ceremonially, but I'm certainly opening this up to any other members of the village board here.
Chris, I will say this much. I would have had a great deal more respect for you if there had been cookies outside.
I don't think it's his fault.
We can only blame it on the man of honor.
Chris, congratulations. I wish you all the best of luck and safe. And under our new chief there, I'm sure you're going to do well. Congratulations.
Very lucky. I'm sorry to cut you off there. We're very lucky that you've been with us for so long and know everybody, and everybody's so happy here and quite a cohesive group. It's really very rewarding to see. So thank you all and good luck.
I was just going to say to all of the police officers in this room, please stay safe. We really do depend upon you, and you guys are fabulous, and women.
Yes.
No. All right. Any other comments from the board? Chris, you calling roll?
Yes, and I just want to add, too, I said, it's so wonderful to see all the support of the department here tonight. I think it says a lot about the department, it also says a lot about you. You know, you were a great police officer, then a great sergeant since, I think, 2019, and we know that you can be a great lieutenant, so thank you. Okay, I'll call the roll. Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Merlino?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And does it make sense, Chris, to just, I'm going to do the next resolution as well?
If you like.
Does that make
one doesn't
sense?
need the oath, so you can do that.
Oh, that
first.
doesn't need the
Yeah.
oath? Okay. Let's do this one as well.
Okay.
So resolution number 3, considering a contingent appointment to the position of police officer.
Now therefore be it resolved that Justin Lopez of Yonkers, New York, is hereby conditionally appointed to the position of police officer for the Village of Rye Brook, subject to the civil service procedures of the state of New York, and according to the offer letter dated April 29, 2025, and be it further resolved, the annual salary is $66,637, with an effective estimated start date of May 26, 2025. Is that right?
That should be May, right? Yeah.
Let me look and double check. Hold on.
Okay.
Sounds like that's got to be adjusted. Let me look. June 18th, 2025. Yes, June 18th.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second?
Again, very excited to have Mr. Lopez joining us and joining the force. And again, realizing the vision of seeing this police force, to its full employment.
Yes, and that appointment takes a few steps to get through,
Right.
so we're still in the process of that, but this is a significant step in that process.
All right. Did I have a motion second?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Any comments from the board?
Just,
Okay.
No.
Mr. Lopez, you are joining one of the great police forces in the world.
Wherever you are.
Call the roll?
Yes, please.
Okay, Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And now we have to get to the oath. Who do you want to do this? Nice things about this.
Right, that's true, okay. They're so cute, look at this.
It's adorable.
Oh my God, they're so cute.
All right. So, just if you go ahead. Raise your hand. And repeat after me. I, Christopher Root,
I, Christopher Root,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police lieutenant
the duties of police lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. Sorry.
Congratulations.
Jason. Jason.
Yeah, we'll do one. Let's get some pictures.
Okay.
I'm gonna hop in a picture with you if that's okay. Eric, why don't you come in?
I can see that. Yeah, you need that.
Wait, where are we looking first here?
Tissue, man.
All right.
You're going to be able to,
Have that standing.
yeah, yes, that's right.
So cute.
Can't be crazy.
Now over at the phones.
How many detectives do we have?
Not including the SRO 3.
Many.
Everybody else is either a sergeant or a
You want
police
some lunch? Get
officer.
some ourselves, yeah. And then we can get everyone up here as usual.
So there's one detective sergeant,
Two detectives.
and then there's 5 other sergeants.
Oh yeah, let's pull some of the chairs to the side. I think people can fit through that. Push that back.
Maybe I should put that there. All right. I just took off my jacket.
Okay.
I didn't change.
Oh, yeah. You need letter.
Eyes right here, guys.
Yeah. That's all right, get it, don't worry about it.
You guys want
We did
Yeah, we did a
the
couple.
meeting up there, unless the whole board's gonna be up there.
Yeah, we can do it. With the girls. Oh, you guys want to do it? Yeah. Come on, Paul.
Did they do it before?
Not the whole department, not the guys. Just the girls. Come on. Let's go. Get up here.
Might be too much of a glare if me and Darren are too close to each other. Yeah, right.
Can I stay in the middle so I look nice?
I have a fear of spiders, man. Spider?
See, you and your spider.
You don't want to be extra.
That's all. I gotta sit on the table for purposes.
I know, I want to be the little one. Wait, my head walk. I look nice.
Do a sorority.
Many days.
Where's Arnold? Where's Arnold hiding in the back?
I think out to confession. Yes.
Come on.
Oh, there is that. See two. Push her right underneath there.
They can't figure it out.
You got, right behind, yes, go that way.
Put him in the middle.
And you go a little. Yep. All right, eyes right here, guys.
Smile like you like each other.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
So are you, Yep. Yeah, I'm going. All right. The guy.
Don't worry, we got it. We're good. We don't have John, so they'll just take those. Ooh, it's cool. I've done it again.
I'm making a mess of stuff, so.
Like, that's the lead.
All right, did we lose anyone on the
He's on the
process?
phone doing something.
He's on the phone, but he'll be in. They're working on it, so.
I was joking. We're south.
You need me to hang out tonight?
You know what it is?
Anything else on the agenda?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
Take a quick peek. No, let me take a quick peek.
Blame the innocent machine.
Yeah, his innocence. Very lovely. Okay.
Hey, Joe.
We lost Sal.
I'm tired. It's a long meeting.
Just double checking.
All right, do we know, is the person from here?
All good. You're all good. What's on the surplus? We added something in for the surplus. With
Oh, yeah.
Live scan.
what is that? That's our fingerprint?
I'm going to the Yankee game a week
Well,
from
that has a
today.
value? Who would buy it? Like another police?
I don't know who they're playing.
It works?
I just got invited.
Make sure you vote before you go
Ramp for the new one, so we're like,
on the school budget.
why not?
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right.
I'll see you on the subway.
Okay.
Saw that 20,000.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So we are going to continue with our agenda. Thank you everyone who came for that. We're going to take one more item out of order here. We're moving to our discussion item. To get that out of the way, discussion item, we have a presentation from Con Edison regarding street opening permits.
I believe Laura Rizzo is going to be giving us a little bit of an update. Is that right? Or and company. How about that?
So, right up here.
Oh, okay. I brought a whole team. Okay? Give me the...
We can give them this paper we can give them this while we're here.
You guys, I got another one on my thing.
Where we working, Randy?
Yeah.
Huh? Where we working?
Woodland Avenue and Hillcrest.
Beautiful.
All right?
You okay with that?
Okay.
That's good?
Okay.
All right, very good.
Just have no action.
All right, so the project that we're trying to do is involve like 4 blocks, including Woodland Avenue between Hillcrest and Area Hill. Also, we have another location, Whittemore, and the whole entire block for Hillcrest. So we're planning to replace the main there from 1902, the gas main. Yep.
Woodland.
We're gonna replace,
Yeah,
we're
if
gonna
you look
upgrade
at-
it.
And on the backup materials for the board members, if you look at the bed sheet,
That's where I am.
yeah, that shows the overall.
Look at that.
Yeah, so like I said, we're planning to spend like probably 3 months on this area. Yeah, because it's a big project. We gotta install the pipe. Then after we install all the pipe, we gotta energize the pipe, and then we gotta transfer each customer one by one. So remember, this is low pressure main. We're gonna upgrade it to medium pressure. Okay, so.
Right, well, I think that's part of the discussion is, part of the discussion, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're looking to suspend some of the alternate side regulations, and we're looking to suspend or extend some of the allowable hours.
Yes, well, we will have, it's not like we're gonna do block by block. So
Right.
it's not that we're gonna shut down the whole area. But we wanna start, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, Hillcrest. That's where we're gonna pick up the feet. So we prefer to start on Hillcrest, and then we're gonna go way down to Woodland Avenue. Then from Woodland Avenue, we go left to Whittemore and go back around to Iron Hill. So we're gonna have to suspend the alternate parking.
We'd like to request that and additional hours.
Okay,
Because the purpose of the additional hours is really to
get it done more
Yeah.
quickly, yeah. Lessen the inconvenience to the residents,
exactly.
And including working Saturdays.
including working Saturdays. Okay. All right, so Chris, I guess my first question, Chris, is what is
So due to the,
procedurally?
so due to the nature of the project, we thought it was good to bring this to the village board, so that they're aware, the community's aware of it. There's some sample letters here that would be sent to the community as well with the outline of the dates and the timeframes, what to expect in terms of restoration, things like that. So do we have a specific request in terms of the hours that you're looking to extend? And when we give extension of hours, if the board is okay with that, just make sure that any holidays, that would not be work on any holidays that are coming up. Is there
8
anything?
to 6?
8 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yes.
And what about on Saturdays?
Saturday, same time.
Unless you guys have like a later start on Saturdays with construction.
Well, what would the residents,
Noise.
so obviously if they work the extra hours, then that would allow the quicker project to complete. So you're looking at how much, about 3 months?
Yep.
And when is the start date?
We can start probably in 2 weeks.
So plus or minus June 1st, right?
Yep.
And we can also help get some of that information out through communications with our residents. So please, you're going to be in contact with Michael Nowak, obviously, I'm sure you have been. In terms of access to properties or access on the street, will there always be access on every street? I know there might be interruptions.
Might be
but
interruption, but whoever
You'll get
needs
people
access,
into their
yes.
homes.
Yes.
Okay.
It just may take some time, right? If
Again, I'm sorry.
some plates around.
So the question is access to homes, obviously.
Sorry, they're very loud out there.
But the farm is open, actually.
So the question I asked was access to homes, making sure that people always have the ability to get to their homes on the streets,
Right.
even when they're working on it. So they'll still have the ability to get in. There may just be delays when they're working in front of their homes or to get to an area. So the residents there should expect delays.
For the most part, if they give like a notice saying, hey, we're leaving in like 15 minutes, they'll make sure that it's out of the way. They're very good at like working with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Are you turning off off the gas on their homes during these days?
No, no,
No,
we're
they've
gonna,
never
the only way we turn the gas off is when we're gonna transfer the service from the old main to the new main, and that will take probably like 8 hours.
So that is a scheduled event
Yes.
after the entire main has
There's
been
plenty of
installed.
time.
Yes,
for
there's
that.
plenty of
So
time.
have use all throughout the period of time until that.
Right.
So
And
so in
then
other
it's
words, there are going to be two
scheduled.
parallel mains.
Yes,
Yes,
one
A
in
deep-
service and then.
One will be out of service.
Built, yes.
Completely connected to the system, then they, turn one off and turn one on.
Okay, so that one will just stay in the ground? The old one stay, okay.
yes.
And the service line to the house, are they being replaced too, or just as
Some of
needed?
them, yes, some of them, there will be, whatever is steel, we're gonna replace to plastic.
Plastic, right,
Whatever's already
inserts?
plastic, we're gonna transfer to the new main. As is.
And I'm assuming, as with other projects going on, when work is complete on a day, the street is reopened, everything is kind of reopened. And Trustee Epstein brings up a very valid point that, this will probably be occurring during, the July 4th time period. And being so close to Portchester High School, that becomes very, parking becomes at a premium on that day.
We accommodate, yeah, we have no problem.
Whenever they are doing the fireworks, if
Yeah.
it's another weekend or that weekend, they can certainly button it up.
Could be during the week, so.
Yeah,
It could
no,
even be during the week.
No, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's just as long as we have, everything open, whether it's plates over the ground for anything that's still open, whatever, it's as long as we're able to have the,
Plate everything at the end of the day. If there's any open excavations for safety purposes, they will plate them and, what is it, you put tar, or, what's it called, I'm sorry,
Coal tar,
coal patch
coal-
around
coal
it
patch. Coal
so that
patch.
they
Yeah.
don't make a lot of noise.
right.
Don't jump,
There
yeah.
be detours. I'm thinking that a good way to lessen the traffic on some of these streets is to think
Still
about
got a plate.
not using it as a through street, because that is a through street.
So we took a look, we went out to the area.
It's all
and
good,
took a
all good.
look And saw the amount of space that we have. When we go out, if our proposed trench area is where we think it's gonna be, I think it's definitely wide enough to have, traffic going through with flaggers on either end. And, police for traffic control to help out with any residents or any cars, just like throughout the process.
Yeah,
It is, especially if we're able to like get no parking on one side, it really does, it is a bigger area. I know like might be small for like this area, but in general for the work we do, it's kind of a wide street compared to like the communities that we work in.
Lord, sorry.
I'm sorry, I
No,
have
it's
a quick
okay.
question. So in order to complete this quickly, what does the staffing look like? Is it going to be vigorous, or is it?
We're gonna have 2 crews perhaps on that area. Each cruise, I would like to say, how many people?
6.
Six. So, it's just, it's all depend. Like I said, they come in, we have to do test pit each service. We got to test pit each service to avoid any damages. So from there, we pick a lane where we're going to put a new main. Most of the time, the main goes next to the old main.
Right.
So we can have a straight lane going forward. So, that being said, that takes time, but in this area that we did work here before, it shouldn't be that big of an issue.
Staging of materials, do you know where you're staging it?
We was looking around Woodland Avenue on that corner right there. We just need like 2 parking space, 3 parking space.
So you're looking to stage on the street, or are you looking to stage?
We're trying to stage in the street. We're talking about, yes, and it's just to have a backhoe.
Okay, so just
And-
talk to Michael about finding a good spot
then-
that be least impactful.
And if we have to
Thank you.
bring material every day, we can do that also, instead of having it in the street.
I don't know if there are any staging areas around there. Are there? No.
No, they'd be
It's gonna say none.
using the street.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
put like 2, maybe 3
Parking spaces
Said,
at a time?
What takes up the most space is the pipe. We'll have the pipe
Yes.
delivered on the days we're only installing it.
Yep.
These jobs are very dynamic, they're moving, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people with complaints.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that as the job goes, that we keep accommodating them. For example, if it makes sense to shut down a street to go an alternate route after we see it, if it doesn't work one day, okay, we'll switch it. they always try and like accommodate to like what works best. Crews are very good.
And
I
Making
would-
sure that people have access to their homes that live on that street, and then detouring everybody else around.
And I would say make sure that you do keep in mind that July 4th,
Yeah.
to have as little material, machines, whatever we can get out of there, because
Take
that's,
everything out of the way.
if you've, and it's a very big day. When I say there are a lot of people, there are thousands and thousands of people in cars all over that area because the fireworks show. I think the best fireworks show in Westchester County is at Portchester High School on July 4th. So
The Portchester event,
Yes.
we'll find out with them what day the event's gonna happen.
Is it actually?
it's on the 4th.
Oh, it is, okay, so it is.
Yeah, it's on the 4th. It's at the high school, which is right there. Rye Brook is a co-sponsor of the event, and has been for many, many years, and it's great. Michael,
one more
I
thing.
may have some questions for you.
One
I have
quick
one question.
I have a
too,
couple
if you don't mind,
questions.
Before
too.
you guys,
Yeah.
after you're done.
That night, I'm just thinking about the fireworks. Kids are shooting off fireworks everywhere. So natural gas, not your friend when you got fireworks.
Yeah.
Just heads up with that stuff.
Please don't with that.
Yeah, number one.
That thing is
Number two, are you replacing the regulators in the houses as well?
Yes.
Yeah, because you're meeting pressure now, every regulator's got to get changed. So you'll be in every house, yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
My only question is, or request is, as you said, people will complain on those streets or want information. If you could change the letter just to have a contact on that.
We will put
It says right now to Westchester Regional and Community Affairs. If we could just have a name, a number, and an email, this way, because people will get frustrated by that.
We have somebody on site every time,
So, and again, it's not for the whole not for the whole community, but for
In
the
the
residents on
letter.
that street.
Right.
not a problem.
Give them, otherwise, we know they'll be coming to Michael and us anyhow.
Well,
Not a
they'll be
problem.
coming to them.
Yeah,
And we get a contact number, or Michael does, right, for an emergency?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, okay.
Any other questions of comment from the board?
No, you have questions for Michael now, right?
Yeah. Michael, what did we think of?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any
What
concerns?
did we think of?
No, we've had 2 meetings about this in the past. They were ready to go a month ago, and here we are. I wanted to discuss this at a board meeting and let the public know. It's going to be disruption, but no different than what we've done in the past. With regards to disruption to homeowners, yes, there may be some disruptions. There may be some times when, obviously a piece of equipment is in the way, or they're making a turn or making a move where a homeowner may have to wait to get in their driveway, or they may have to get a road plate to put over the driveway. So, it's going to be a few minutes, 100%. I'm going to be upfront and honest with that. But they will have access. EMS, fire, police, and school buses will always have access as needed. That's always that's not a problem. They're going to have their flaggers on site. With regards to staging, they've agreed to bring material on site as needed. It's going to be a little area to park their backhoe. As they said, maybe 2 spots, 3 at the most. For 4th of July, we could relocate their equipment to our highway yard if we have to. So that's not a problem, just open up all the parking.
Right.
If need be, that's not a problem.
Okay.
With regards to fireworks for 4th of July, they may or may not have the gas lines active or not active, but at that point, they're testing everything anyway, so if they find a leak, they're not going to energize it anyway.
Right.
So with regards to that, any shutdowns, if there is a option to shut down the road, obviously that will be coordinated through Public Works and Administration. Police, fire, EMS will all be notified.
Will there be police on, police,
Not necessarily. That's up to kind of to determine. They have flaggers on site, not a high-traffic area.
We don't require it.
It's not a requirement.
Okay.
No, and I think this isn't a very high-traffic area. I think you're probably good with flaggers. I don't think we need
So
them.
And
it's not
what
a
about-
high-traffic area.
What about the final restoration of the road?
So final restoration, what's going to happen is they're going, and you guys could correct me, they're going to follow our specifications. They're going to backfill with K-Crete. They're going to do temporary patching. It's going to stay that way for a month or 2, okay? And then they're going to come in, mill, and pave the area that was
Everything's done.
disturbed.
Not the
okay?
entire road.
Not the entire road. The only road they're going to do entire is Hillcrest, because Hillcrest was
Because-
paved last year. We wound up sneaking that road in last year, so
Yeah.
that road was not on their repaving list. So that's why they had this already scheduled. So we wound up paving it last year based on the condition. That road's going to be curb to curb because it was just paved last year.
Okay,
So it's
good.
going to be,
Okay.
unfortunately, it is what it is. The other roads are going to be half of the road is going to be milled and paved only in the area of where
Where
they
they're
disturb.
digging.
That's
To
correct.
the center line.
To the center line.
Is that going to
correct.
create a problem in the future?
It's not going to create a problem, it's just going to be more of an aesthetic issue. We paved in this area probably 10 years ago. I'm gonna say
Okay, so it's
ballpark.
coming due in...
So I mean, you're looking at probably another 10 years before we come back here and pave.
Okay.
And one other question, Michael, in accessing the opening of the road, is there any reason why we shouldn't be looking at our infrastructure in that road? Is storm drains, or is there anything that we need to attend?
No, our
At the time?
our infrastructure is independent of Con Ed's.
Right, of course.
We have cambered our sewers here. We've done 3D manhole inspections. We've inspected the sewer lines across the entire village.
Mm-hmm.
We've checked all our manholes as well. We do check our storm drains every year when we clean them out.
Mm-hmm.
So Highway Department has a list of that. But with regards to our work and their work, we really don't anticipate anything unless something happens, unless something gets hit or something
Yeah, right.
gets damaged.
If they,
Then we'll
if they hit
coordinate.
something, right?
Yeah.
Microphone.
How are we safeguarding the fact that the storm drains may have debris? Or are they putting anything to protect them?
So, under their typical construction details, they do have inlet protection details, and they have a silt sack that goes in. Con Ed has Vector trucks and contractors on staff who could come in and suck them out. So if it's determined that catch basins are compromised, need to be cleaned out, that's something that we'll discuss, and they'll act on it accordingly.
And water service and sanitary service, I know from past experience, sometimes when you're digging, by accident, you hit a pipe or two,
Unfortunately,
that's gonna happen. Yeah.
They're required by law to call in the dig safe number 811.
Yeah,
The
but you-
markouts are as good as the records are,
Yeah,
as good
right.
as the staff who marks it,
Right, exactly.
as good as the measurements are. So, unfortunately, accidents do happen.
Okay.
We've had accidents happen in the past,
Mhm.
and knock on wood, we hope not, but
Right.
there may
Maybe
be an
be corrected.
accident,
Yep.
and we'll be on top of it.
Corrected.
No
Yep.
different than
That's it.
other times.
Good.
Sal, I may have misunderstood you,
Uh-huh.
but I thought your question was, if the village has any work to be done in this area, why not do it at the same time?
Kind of, or at least look at it, but maybe not, that maybe where they're trenching, there may not be any sanitary or storm drains. And that's the only two things that we
Yeah, but that's
service.
that's what I
Yeah,
thought you were
yeah.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, in essence.
Looking
But while
at their
you're there,
maps,
Vol-
our infrastructure
Yeah.
parallels their lines. However, once again, unless there's a reason for us to perform work in that area, we would not be performing that work. And we typically would not want to jump in at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
Now you got 20 crews in there, you got 10
Bigger
pieces
holes.
of equipment, 5 different holes, it gets a little messy. Unless there's an emergency, that's a different story, but right now, I don't foresee a reason for us being in here infrastructure-wise. There are some areas here that have probably been identified in the past for relining, but that's non-invasive, that's all through
Yeah, good.
manholes.
And you'll do some periodic drive-through inspections?
I'll be out there driving by,
Yep.
taking a look.
Checking-
Every so often, every couple
Looking
of
in the
days, I'll
hole?
be out there.
Yep.
All of us have each other's numbers, so we all talk frequently. We're on the same associations, we're on the same side, we work together in emergencies, we work together on blue sky days, so everybody knows each other, everybody knows what to do. in
All right,
case
so we
something
got
happens.
contact numbers, we got, the letter's gonna go out, the residents gonna have emails, they're gonna have phone numbers for any emergencies.
It's going to be a disruption, and.
No, it is what it is, you gotta do what you gotta do.
When are the notices to the residents going to go out?
After this board meeting was the intent, so.
If you guys give us the go-ahead, we have a start date.
What-
we can start.
Chris,
Yeah.
what's needed on our end?
I think I'll just read a resolution that going to do, basically
Okay, so we
outlining
don't
it.
need to notice it.
You don't need to approve the work, you just need to outline some of the things that we talked about tonight, which I can go over. if you like.
Parking, the
Can we send
hours.
an email blast out?
Huh? Yeah, we can do an email blast. We'll facilitate.
Rye Brook residents or something?
All right, do we
So-
have
know
other
that.
Well,
questions?
that's why I asked when the letters were going out, so they could plan ahead.
Right, is there anybody that's doing any kind of renovation on those streets? Do we have any knowledge of
They'll
that?
still have access to
and
them.
they'll have to work around it.
They'll still have
Yeah,
access.
what are you gonna, I don't think.
Well, that's why it's
Because
important to get it out as soon as possible,
Right,
so
that's why we
people
wanna
can make
get the
arrangements.
notice out.
Yep.
Got it.
So, I mean, at the moment, this project got delayed 1 month already because I wanted them to come to the board meeting, so the board could ask the questions and we could have everything in the public. So, you know, we're already going into June, July, August, let's say September. Now we're going into leaf season, hopefully for restoration by end of October, early November at the latest. So,
Right.
you know, on our end, the goal is to get it done before we get into leaf season, when now we're hauling leaves in
Right.
the area and we're getting into possible snow. You know,
Right.
don't want to say that word, but.
We're just getting to spring. What are you talking
And we
about?
don't, and we want to make sure we get it done before the asphalt
Don't
plant
push my
starts shutting
favorite
down.
time.
Right. All right.
So maybe you want me to kind of
Yes, all
summarize?
right,
Okay.
so if you can, so I guess the next step is we would have to, what we'd be approving tonight is the extended hours.
Use of the streets. I can
Use of the
I can go
streets.
through it if you
Okay,
like.
go
So,
ahead.
so in order to facilitate and expedite the Con Ed gas main replacement project on Woodland Avenue, Woodmore Place, and Hillcrest Avenue, the village board hereby,
Monroe,
and Monroe,
yes.
the village board hereby approves extended construction hours from Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., except holidays and except on the July 4th event at the Portchester High School, and also will also allow the use of the streets for staging equipment in accordance with meetings with Mr. Nowak, and will also provide contact name, phone number, and emails as part of the communication to the residents in the area. The rest of the stuff.
Sound good? I mean, do we want to add in coordination with the Rye Brook Police Department?
We'll take care of everything. We can always shut it down. It's our streets.
I mean, coordination, I guess, would come through Michael, so
Yes.
it's fine with the Rye Brook Police Department.
So really, what the board has to do is extend the hours and the use of the streets.
All right,
Fine, suspended.
all right, can I have a motion?
Oh, an alternate side of the street,
And suspend
parking is
alternate.
suspended.
Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, questions or comments on the resolution? Okay, I think it was fairly
Hashed out.
straightforward. All right, any final questions or comments from the board?
No, I think
All right, well, we appreciate you coming to us. We appreciate, the trying to get this done as quickly as possible. I know people may complain when there's still work going on at 6 o'clock at night, but we can easily explain to them, well, that's so that they're on your street or in your area for a couple of days, not a couple of weeks. And that's really the idea here. All right, I think, who's calling the roll? Greg, you're calling the roll?
Right, and when they have the light.
Yeah.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Good
luck.
luck.
All right, so we're going into a
You bet.
very apropos public hearing. Public hearing, considering a public hearing, so resolution number, well, no, we're not doing the resolution. Wait a second, what am I here?
We didn't do number one. Hearing.
The
6.1.
resolution I have,
There's one public hearing, which is the proposed local law concerning the street opening work and restoration.
Jason.
right, but this is, the lead on the resolution says considering setting a public hearing.
Ah. That's okay. That's just for the, that's okay. So the draft local law is you're opening a public hearing on the draft local law. That's before the board tonight.
Okay, so,
And it's
so
basically
public
just,
hearing number one.
and it's just replaced, the only change in the local law is changing the authority for street opening work from the building inspector to the superintendent of public works, which is the way it operates at present.
Right, so the public hearing, number one, a public hearing on a proposed local law amending Chapter 215-7 of the Village Code concerning street opening work and restorations. Can I have a motion and second, please, to open the public hearing?
Motion,
Moved.
Second.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. And we already had the explanation of what this public hearing is on.
Yep, and we do have a resolution under the resolution portion of it.
Okay, Chris,
that's
you want to
active.
just restate?
Yeah. Considering adopting a local law amending Chapter 250,
But not the resolution yet,
Oh.
just the public hearing. What are people commenting on?
did we
You
just open and
restate.
close it?
We just opened the public hearing.
Okay, so the public hearing is on a proposed local law that currently reads that the building inspector is in charge of street opening work, permits and so forth. So the local law is just changing it to change it from the building inspector to the superintendent of public works, who actually does those types of approvals.
All right.
So it's just making a change in our code to reflect who people have to go to for those permits.
Thank you, Chris. All right, so do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have any questions or comments from the board? I know we had discussed this at a previous meeting. This is a very simple change.
Yeah.
And something that was needed because it was really the wrong authority.
Was the wrong authority.
All right, no questions from the public, no comments from the board. Do I have a motion second, please, to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. All right, the public hearing is closed. Let's move right into the resolution. Resolution number 1, considering adopting a local law amending Chapter 215-7 of the Village Code concerning street opening work and restorations.
Whereas street opening permits and restorations are administered by the Superintendent of Public Works, and whereas the Village Code states that the responsibility is a building inspector, and whereas the Village of Rye Brook wishes to amend the code to ensure compliance with existing village policies and procedures, and whereas the Board of Trustees held a duly noticed public hearing on a local law on May 13th, at which time all interested had an opportunity to be heard, and whereas the proposed action is an unlisted action pursuant to seeker, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the proposed local law to amend Chapter 215-7 of the Village Code concerning street opening work and restorations.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
Motion?
Second?
All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. All right, so it's my understanding that we are postponing resolution number 4 or putting this
Correct.
off. Is there any comment to be made on that?
Nope, should be placed on the next agenda.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, moving on, resolution number 5, considering an intermunicipal agreement between the, what just happened? Sorry. Is this the right one? Sorry, I apologize. Okay, considering an intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Rye Brook and the Blind Brook School District for the 2024-25 Village of Rye Brook's after-school program.
The next two resolutions are going to be very similar. We just never we don't have the existing agreement for the current school year, which is just an oversight, and then we're looking to do it for the next school year. The next school year will have an increase as per the license and fee schedule. So I'll just read this one. The first resolution reads, as the Village of Rye Brook runs a school-age childcare program after school during the duration of the school year for elementary school-age children, and whereas the school district Blind Brook School District has offered the premises of the Bruno and Pontario Bridge Street School to the Village of Rye Brook to conduct this program, and whereas the Village of Rye Brook and the Blind Brook School District seek to enter into an agreement for the use of the school and to operate the program, and whereas under the terms of the agreement, we can run this program each day of the school operation from 3:10 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., and additional times on conference days and special days of the school district when they're in session, and from September 3rd, 2024 through June 25th, 2025, and the Village of Rye Brook agrees to reimburse the school district for 1/3 of the cost of the school of the one security monitor during the duration of the program. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the agreement with the school district, subject to modification by council, for the use of the Ridge Street School for the school-aged child care after-school program for the 24-25 school year, and be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
Motion?
Second.
And my understanding is this is what we've been operating under, correct?
Yes, that's
And
correct.
this is just making sure that everything's formalized, even though we're in May, mid-May.
Correcting it so if the auditors ask.
Right. All right, that sounds good. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 6, considering an intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Rye Brook and the Blind Brook School District for the 2025-26 Village of Rye Brook's after-school program.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to
Thank
say it's the exact same resolution, except the time period is September 2nd, 2025 through June 26, 2026. And now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the IMA with the Blind Brook School District, subject to modification by council, for use of the Ridge Street School for the Village of Rye Brook school-age childcare after-school program for the 25-26 school year. And be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
Motion.
Second.
So now this is for the upcoming school
Correct.
year. This will start in the fall.
Yep.
And, we certainly appreciate the relationship that we have with the Blind Brook School District. This program started when the school district approached us about taking over this after-school program. That this was a program that had been running in the school district, but was run by another entity, and I forget exactly who. But
YMCA, I think.
the school district approached the village about taking over this program. We did all the licensing. We went through a lot of different steps, and hired on staff, making sure we had the staff in order to accomplish this goal. And this program has been a real success. I think by any standards. It's serving the students of the school district. It's certainly, I personally think, having seen both programs running better than it had been prior to the village taking it over, and we look forward to continuing this relationship and continuing this after-school program.
Yes, and I would add, we are one, as far as I know, we're one of only 2 municipalities that do this in Westchester County, and that, when I say this, it's a licensed by the state school-age childcare program, and the reason you need a license from the state is there's a mix of disciplines. One is recreation-oriented, and the other is education-oriented, where we help with homework and other type of help. So that's why we try to work closely with school employees, recreation employees, so that students get a nice balance between some exercise as well as some educational components as well.
I did notice that the fee did go up a little bit, which is, yes,
did.
yeah, it did. Yes, it
From 1
did.
year to the next, which
So it went up,
which
like,
reflects what was approved by the board in the budget.
yeah, okay,
right,
I just want to make sure. So it's like $10, $10, not much, didn't go up much.
I can tell you what it is. So
Oh, the fee schedule. All
Yeah,
right.
yep.
I can tell you what it is. So what it is the 2 days goes up $20.
Yeah, something, no, $10.
75 to
Yeah, yeah,
95.
you're right, $20.
The 3 days a week goes up $30.
Okay.
The 4 days goes up $50, I think, $40, and the other goes up $50.
Okay, so that's good that we're keeping up with this
Yeah.
constant, cost of living stuff that we have to, our cost of living.
Yep.
Good, right?
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, 20, 30, 40, and 50. the
Very good.
increases.
No, it's good. No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yep.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Excuse me.
Yes.
Not yep.
What?
Yeah, I said yep. Yes. So sorry.
And Mayor Klein.
Yay? Yes. All right, thank you. Resolution number 7, considering a village contribution to the Columbus Day Celebration Committee for the annual parade and improving use of village streets.
Whereas the Board of Trustees supports the annual Columbus Day Parade sponsored by the Columbus Day Celebration Committee, and whereas the committee is requesting the use of the village streets for its annual Columbus Day Parade, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves that $800 be provided to the Columbus Day Celebration Committee for its annual Columbus Day Parade on Sunday, October 12th, 2025, with a rain date of October 19th. Be it further resolved that the committee is authorized to use the Village of Rye Brook streets for the Columbus Day Parade on October 12th or October 19th. And be it further resolved, the final route and any conditions shall be approved by the police chief of the Village of Rye Brook Police Department.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
Second.
All right, I think this is, something that we've done every year. Sometimes I've been able to participate in the parade, other times not. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 8, considering awarding contract
Let's
number
see.
2025-05, HVAC maintenance and repairs.
Whereas the village has solicited bids for contract 2025-05, HVAC maintenance and repairs, and whereas the bid was advertised in the Journal News, the official newspaper of the Village of Rye Brook, on March 31st, and was also made available in the Empire State Purchasing Group bid system, and whereas at 2 p.m. on Monday, April 16th, all bids received were opened and are summarized below. We received 4 bids, one from Southeast Mechanical, another from Clean Air Quality, another from Plitnick Plumbing, and another from High Tech Air Conditioning. Now therefore be resolved that following the review of the bids by the village administrator and engineer, the Board of Trustees has determined that the lowest responsible bidder meeting the requirements of the contract is High Tech Conditioning of 60 Otis Street, West Babylon, New York, for the total base bid amount of $57,240 with alternate A. And be it further resolved that the contract can be renewed annually for a period of up to 5 years, and be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are hereby authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
Moved.
Second.
David, I know where you're going on this, although 3 of the 4 seem to conform.
I would just like to know what clean air quality was bidding on.
Clearly,
And it might be the closest.
Clearly not very
that is
clear.
actually what I'm looking at. The one that won is the farthest away.
Yep.
So it looks like he just
Something is
shot.
wrong with
See if
that
you
other
get it.
bid. I mean, they're looking at something
shot.
else.
Where
The other ones
everybody
were
else-
tight. Yeah, the other ones
So
were
this
tight.
is maintenance for just this building?
I believe it's all of our
All
buildings.
our
That's all
buildings.
of our maintenance repairs,
All of our
yes.
HVAC?
Every
Yes.
building?
Yeah.
So that would be Village Hall, Firehouse,
Yep, AJP, Highway
In the
Garage.
garage.
and the garage. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
pretty, that's
Pretty good.
acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking,
Yep.
what's involved in that, and I think that's reasonable. So this is something, this is every year, and it goes up a little bit for the next, it's the contract
Up or
we have.
down.
Yeah, and it's nice that it's this gives us stability in the
Yep.
multi-year.
Yeah, no, it's good, so we know we're up against the budget.
Exactly.
And then it's obviously, when it totally breaks down, this is only maintenance,
This is maintenance.
so
And
anything
repairs.
can happen,
And
right?
Maintenance and repairs.
This HVAC, HVAC, so it's maintenance and what, minimal repairs, or what are they, all repairs?
It gives an
So-
hourly charge also.
There's the hourly rates on the side of the table.
So the contract was bid for annual maintenance, which is to replace filters, belts and things of that nature,
Yep.
which is on a quarterly basis, inspect the units, and then there's an hourly rate in there for as needed on call for labor as we,
Okay, so there's still another fee.
Not for travel time.
So unit breaks down, middle
when
and
it breaks down, it's $120 an hour times
times how many hours?
10 guys, times
Yeah,
2
yeah,
hours,
okay.
plus material at $300 for a motor. Here you go. So this way, we don't have to get proposals every single time and get 3 prices and get multiple quotes, because that's...
No, I think it
That's
makes
why
sense.
I
And you
started
guys
to
should
break
be
out the
responsible
contract that
to
way.
maintain them and replace filters. I think it's good that, hopefully the maintenance
Prevents
works.
bigger problems.
Preventive maintenance, preventive repairs, okay. Yeah.
Listen, it's mechanical equipment, it runs
Yeah, I know, you
24/7
don't know.
a lot of times, so, it's...
Our units, how old are these units?
Village Hall was replaced 10 to 12 years ago.
Oh, that's going.
Highway Department is 4
years?
years old now. The senior center, we're working on replacing those right now, so those will be probably within the next year, they'll be replaced. What else do we have? Firehouse is original, so that's 20 years. So that's going to be
20
in the
years,
future.
wow.
Okay, so we have to budget for the firehouse for sure,
I
right?
like your way of thinking.
Yeah, and this one, and prepare for this
Take a
one.
note for 25, 26.
That's great.
Michael's eyes just lit up.
For 20 years, it's almost worth replacing if we find some money,
It awoke itself.
because that's going
Yes,
to be.
no,
We should-
no, but in all fairness,
We
yes.
should
the
think about replacing that one.
Firehouse is reaching 20 years, so for commercial units, typically 20, 25 years is your useful life of a unit, so you try to phase something out within 20, 25 years. Typically not past 25 years, so yeah, within the next few years,
We gotta think
those are
about
going to
it.
need replacement.
Should
But
we
knock on
we should
wood,
be
they're-
proactive with that,
They're
right?
working on the schools right now.
Yeah. All right, good. All right, that's it, enough. Sorry.
All right. Any other questions or comments regarding this maintenance, HVAC maintenance bid?
Greg, do we have a motion in a second?
Okay.
Is there, if you don't find that they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, is there a way out of the contract?
Our contract has a clause in it that, at no risk to the village and no liability to the village, we could let the contractor go
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
with X amount of days
Of course,
notice
time.
and written notice, yeah.
And obviously, we want them doing their job, we don't want to be in the business just kicking people off the job, it would have to be
Of
fairly
course,
bad,
egregious,
yeah.
of course. I'm not saying, I'm
Would
just
have to
saying
be
we don't have
egregious,
to keep.
Would have to be gross negligence.
Right.
I did reach out to the references in Nassau County, and they did give a positive response on them.
Okay.
I did reach out to 2 other people, haven't gotten a response, but the one person was for a municipality, I believe, in Long Island, and it was favorable.
Okay, great. Good to know.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 9, and you can stay up for the next 2. Resolution number 9, considering awarding contract 2025-06, generator maintenance and associated work.
Whereas the village has solicited bids for contract 2025-06, generator maintenance and repairs, and whereas the bid was advertised in Journal News as the official paper on March 31st and was also made available on the Empire State Purchasing Group bid system, and whereas at 2 p.m. on April 16th, all bids received were opened and summarized, and there was 4 bids again there was Peak Power Systems, Guerin Generator, Guerin Generator,
Wherein?
GenServe Inc., and Gentech Limited. And now therefore be resolved that following the review of the bids by the administrator and engineer, the Board of Trustees has determined the lowest responsible bidder meeting the requirements is Gentech Limited of New Windsor, New York, for a total base bid amount of $50,150 with alternates A and B. And be it further resolved that the contract can be renewed annually for a period of up to 5 years. And be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second?
Motion?
Second?
I guess same kind of question. Is this someone we've worked with in the past? Have you- if
No,
Not?
it is a new contractor. They do a number of municipalities. They do Putnam County, reached out to Putnam County, and they came back with favorable recommendation on them. No issues with regards to maintenance or workmanship or quality of work with regards to them.
And I'm assuming the generators are the same same locations we just talked about?
How many generators we have? 3?
5.
5 generators.
5 generators, and
Huh?
this contract takes into account a major service and a minor. A major service is a full replacement of oil filter, fuel filters, checking the program and going over everything. A minor service is just basically to come in and test the fluids and run the unit. It also has a load bank test, which is a 4-hour it's basically a 4-hour test where the generators run under load. Correct. That is a FPA
How often, so this is, like, say this year it's 9,000 or next year, whatever. How often they come out?
I only see signs.
They come out twice a year for the services. The third time they come out is for the load bank testing, unless they do it at the same time.
So if nothing goes wrong, they're coming out 3 times a year
Correct.
for 9,790.
For 5 units.
For 5 units.
Are you there when they test every unit?
Yep.
Oh, they gotta go, right, so they'll go to
They
each unit.
test them, I get the reports, I get the fuel sampling, the antifreeze sampling, oil sample results all come back to me.
And age of the units?
Varies. We have one that's 4 years old, we have one that's 25 years old, and everything in
The
between.
one in the firehouse is 25?
Firehouse is 20.
Good. So we got good
Village
equipment in that
Hall-
firehouse.
Village Hall is 10 to 12.
That's good news.
Atria Pump Station is 26, 27 years old. AJP is approximately 10 to 12, and the highway yard is about 4.
Okay.
So, once again, with proper maintenance, 25 years, 25 years, not unheard of, but once again, these are emergency units, so you do want them to respond accordingly.
There's an emergency.
As long as we can get, as long as we can still get parts, right?
Yeah, all our generators are Generac. We do have one Kohler. They're all mainstream parts, John Deere engines, John Deere controllers. They're all standard equipment. There's nothing proprietary here.
Or water cooled?
All water cooled
Okay.
and heated in the winter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
You're amazing.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Amazing.
Trustee Morlino?
You're amazing. Yes.
Can I have that in writing? Wait, it'll be in the minutes.
And Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 10,
In trouble 'cause-
considering awarding contract 2025-02 catch basin cleaning.
Do you see this? It's crazy.
You are amazing, so there you go.
Thank you.
Whereas the village has solicited bids for 2025-02 catch basin cleaning, and
I
whereas
know,
the
it's
bid
crazy.
for contract was advertised in Journal News on March 31st and was also made available on the Empire State Purchasing Group, and whereas at 2 p.m. on Monday, April 16th, all bids were received and open as summarized below. We received bids from Wind River Environmental, National Water Main Cleaning, ACV Environmental Service, Fred A. Cook, and Instuform Technician, or Technical, I don't know.
Wrong with
Oh, in situ form, and Westmoreland Construction.
what they're doing.
Now therefore be resolved that after review of the bids, the administrator and engineer, the Board of Trustees has determined that the lowest responsibility or meeting the requirements is Fred A. Cook of Montrose, New York, for a base bid amount of $296,050, and be it further resolved that the contract can be renewed annually for a period up to 5 years, and be it further resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to execute and deliver, and the mayor, execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved?
So this is a contractor we've worked with, correct?
That's a popular, he's a popular one. I've seen the
Yeah.
Cook truck.
And for the public, when they hear those amounts, that's a 5-year amount, not an annual amount.
Single year,
Yes.
right.
So it's 32,000
Which one do we?
and then goes up a
Fred
couple
Cook.
grand every year.
It's, yeah,
I see their name
32,000 for the
everywhere.
Vector cleaning a year for the first year, and disposal of the spills is another 27,750, which is regulated, so that's why that gets to be a very
And
expensive.
then, Michael, I think you go out, or someone goes out and documents every storm drain?
Highway Department goes out with
With
the
them.
crew, and we check each basin. We document it. It's actually a DC requirement that we inspect.
Oh,
every
yeah, it's a
basin.
DC requirement, huh?
Yep.
So you determine,
I think it's audited.
yeah, Ellen, that determines how much silt is in the storm drain, so you know how to clean next time, or they all get cleaned one shot?
What happens is we have approximately 980
Storm drains?
in the village.
Mhm.
We do 500 of them in a given year.
Okay.
Okay, 500.
Oh, okay, you don't do them all.
A little over.
All right, so you
No,
do,
We used to do them all. However, the budgetary numbers just came back ridiculous, as you see.
yep,
Okay, and in working with DEC, they've been working with us, so we've been doing half of them. So we basically have the village broken down
Okay.
into 2 areas. that-
500 one year and 100 next year?
Then we try to hit some hot spots in between
Yes.
the both of them, which we know where we're at. We do the documentation, we have a form that DEC requires that we fill out, and that's also our work order form. So if we have catch basins that are dilapidated or
Right.
need work, we then go through that, we pull those sheets out, and we start to work on those catch basins. The spoils now are regulated. We can no longer use them here in the village because our contractor who operates the compost site hauls material out of the village. So that has to get disposed of properly, which means has to be manifested and documented where it goes. And you see what the price is on that. It's
Yeah, I could see it's almost as much as cleaning.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Well, it is what it is. Thanks to the DEC.
And they inspect that too.
So every 5 years, the village gets audited by DEC.
Right.
And within that 5 years, EPA also comes and does a concurrent independent audit of our files and records for catch basin cleaning, street sweepings, outfall inspections, and this is everything we kind of talk about under the MS4
Yeah, right.
presentation that we just did a few
Yeah.
weeks ago.
And the state also inspects the compost site where the spoils are
So
sometimes
Westchester County
held.
Health Department inspects the compost site, and the DEC inspects the compost site under a registration up there as well. So there's a lot of eyes on a
Yeah.
lot of these things, and I want to see 5 years' worth of records.
And did we do this, I don't remember, did we do this long span of contract like last year? or-
We did have a multi-year contract. In the past, we've
Sure.
done yearly contracts, maybe 3-year contracts, and over the years, I've transitioned to a schedule that meets the fiscal year, so we're on a June rotation
Right.
of all our contracts, just makes it easy.
Makes sense.
And B, I've been extending it out to 5 years, because by law, we're allowed to do up to a 5-year bid.
And what
And
do
the numbers become
And it helps us with the
favorable.
numbers, yeah.
and we
And
can
it
predict
adds surety.
and budget accordingly, yeah. Do these people drop out a lot? When these couple front contracts? 5-year they stay with it?
No, we've had
I'd
one or two in
say-
the past
I'd
that
say
have
it's probably
have had
steady.
That's good.
issues, but
So you got we have a good rapport with,
good relationship with
you're
many.
nice, everybody's nice. Okay, good. That's it.
All right.
Okay, good.
Just as a quick question, for the areas that are hotspots, do we know why those silt up faster, or?
Either heavy volume of traffic, okay, or just a drainage pattern. So some of the basins may have issues where they don't have a sump, and we just go and clean them out.
There's
Anyway,
areas that flood maybe, also you'll get more siltation, things like that.
yeah, so it's just little low-lying areas that we know under a heavy storm will pond, or something that might have a tree root that we know has had issues with roots in the past. and
Then
we
like
just clean
Belfair
up.
would have very little, right?
Belfair would have very little. Talking about on Bonwood, there's one spot. On Old Orchard, there's one spot that we clean out. It tends to silt up. It's a flat line, so it basically tends to hold the silt and sediment. We jet that out. Recurringly, we know that. There's a spot on Latonia that we know we've had some issues with, that we just make sure we jet it and clean it. No real particular reason as far as infrastructure collapse or infrastructure degradation. It's just basically low-lying areas
Yeah,
that you know.
lower line areas near water.
Storm drains down. Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
Yeah, 'cause it's coming downhill, right?
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
you.
All right, moving on, resolution number 11, considering an agreement between the Village of Rye Brook and AccuData Corp. for payroll processing and human resources related services.
Whereas the Village of Rye Brook Treasury Department wishes to streamline the payroll processing and human resource-related responsibilities, and whereas the treasurer has received a proposal from AccuData Corp. Of Hicksville, New York, to provide these services, and whereas the proposal is a 1-year master service agreement effective June 1st, 2025, with an option for an automatic renewal each year at a cost equal to or less than the current village platforms, and whereas the Village of Rye Brook seeks to enter into the proposed agreement with AccuData Corp., now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposed master services agreement between the village and AccuData Corp., subject to modification by council, and be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
And Chris, it's my understanding this is coming out of the administrative office, you and Trish.
Trish, yeah, this is
And can you also just explain, I know you're going to go in and explain this.
Yep.
But as part of that, can you also just please explain how the transition works?
Sure. The transition should be pretty smooth. We've been working on it actually for weeks, getting ready for this. The council's been reviewing the agreement to make sure the agreement is satisfactory. Currently, we use Springbrook and Marshall and Sterling for certain the services. Springbrook for payroll, Marshall and Sterling for like ACA or American Care Act services. And this will be a product that, one, costs less than what we use now, but secondly, will provide a lot more functions. So AccuData will assist with payroll processing, human resource management, recruiting, onboarding, time, leave attendance, how it gets entered in, benefits administration, and the American Care Act compliance as well. And again, at a reduced cost. So Springbrook, who still remains as our financial system, provides basically a data dump on the payroll processing, and AccuData will get the data in. We're geared up for it. Treasurer's office is ready to make sure this happens smoothly. We're not anticipating any problems, knock on wood, but we've been working with Springbrook and AccuData to make sure it goes, it's a smooth transition.
All right, thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments from the board on this?
There may be some overlap too with Springbrook. We're talking to them about how that data dump is managed, and we may have like a little bit of an overlap, which we indicated. We planned for this and budgeted for it all as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. And again, my concern was more the transition,
That's why I've been working. we've been
Yeah, I
working
know.
on
It's always, it's
Got to
not-
make sure people get paid.
Right, well, yeah. It always adds a little more stress, little extra work to try and transition a system over.
Yep.
So that, we just want to make sure everything's going smoothly.
Yes.
All right, and obviously, this is something that, Trish has done research on. This is something that
100%.
really
This-
looking to use, and so, we as a board are certainly very supportive of that.
We've done all
because-
different references. We've talked to the municipalities. They're all very satisfied with the particular product. Other municipalities are, so
Great.
we think it'll actually add a lot of resources and technology and just efficiencies by having it this way, rather than through the Springbrook system. It'll change some of how we do things a little bit in terms of, right now, how the payroll gets entered in. We're not all consistent department by department for how the payroll gets entered in for additional hours or highway and police, so it'll get everybody onto the same system. It'll all be uniform, and I think it'll be much more efficient.
Great. All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
As long as the people get paid.
Yes.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 12, considering authorizing the renewal of a Westchester County Department of Health food service permit application to operate a food service establishment at the AJP Community Center.
Whereas the County Health Department, the sanitary code requires that a food service permit be obtained to operate food service establishment, and whereas the AJP Community Center serves and operates a food service establishment and would like to renew their application for such a permit in order to comply with the rules of the County Department of Health, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the Senior Citizen Coordinator to apply for renewal of a food service permit for the community center and to execute and deliver with the County Department of Health for and on behalf of the village a renewal application for the permit to operate the food service establishment and to create and to execute and deliver any additional documents which may be appropriate or desirable in connection therewith.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Obviously, we want to keep this in operation at AJP.
Yes.
It's an important part of what we do. This is an annual thing that we do.
Yep, it is.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 13.
Budget transfer.
Considering a fiscal year 24-25 budget modification for consolidated highway reimbursement funds, fire department radios, joint traffic study with the Portchester School District, and police department routers.
What you just indicated in the title is what we're doing. So there's a lot of information in the resolution doing just that, which is, again, making modification to reflect the revenue from the consolidated highway fund that we receive and allocating it towards the paving. Fire department radios, the joint traffic study with Portchester School District that's currently has an RFP out, and also the police department routers, which again, we're at the end of our year, so we're trying to make sure that the funds are allocated in the right places and the transfers and the projects established prior to June 1st. So that's the reason all this is before you. Now therefore be resolved that the following fiscal year 24-25 capital fund budget modification is approved, and to record reimbursement funds received from the New York State Pave New York program, and that we received revenues in the amount of $26,291.43, and that'll go towards the road resurfacing capital project. Again, it's a net zero. We're going to recognize the revenue and put it towards road resurfacing, which is what it's for. Be it further resolved that the road resurfacing capital project be restated as follows, and it's basically just reflecting that $26,291.43 goes into that project. Be it further resolved that the following capital project remaining balances be returned to the general fund. So these are the closing of certain projects. The fire department upgrading portable radios, there's a balance of $548.09. That would be returned to the general fund, and the police body worn camera replacements in the amount of $2,814.12 that gets returned to the general fund, to the fund balance. And be it further resolved that the following budget modifications for the capital fund and general fund be approved. There's, basically, these are just inter-fund transfers in the amount of $3,362.21. Be it further resolved that for fiscal year 24-25 capital project, traffic, parking, and pedestrian studies established, and that the Village of Rye Brook, in partnership with the Portchester School District, will analyze the traffic, parking, pedestrian patterns in and around the Portchester Middle School and potentially the Portchester High School, with the goal to improve conditions for students, staff, and the surrounding community. And be it further resolved that the following budget amendment and transfer be established. This is a transfer from contingency to an interfund transfer, and then creating the capital project in the amount of $30,000. And be it further resolved that the following the general fund transfer be fund for the purchase of Cradle Point routers for the police vehicles, and that's a transfer from the contingency account to the police department electronics account in the amount of $16,658.85.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I don't know whether to thank or curse former Mayor Rosenberg, who had asked that all of these budget transfers be made into one document.
Really hard.
That
was really hard.
Being each one having its own, which it had been prior.
Yes.
Would you rather have had this 8 separate
No,
documents?
I don't think I would have. And I was, like I said, I didn't know whether I wanted to thank. I think we thank. So, and again, always thank you to Trish and everyone in finance department and budgeting.
Can I just highlight one item?
Yeah,
So
please.
the one that's kind of the most interesting out of all of it, because a lot of it is
I like the traffic study, but
the traffic study.
Oh, okay, we're in agreement.
Because we really don't know. We really don't know the amount of that study. It's currently out for an RFP that's due the end of the month. But in order to have the funds in place, we want to put some funding in place should it comes in. We don't know what the amount's going to be.
Right.
Where you said if the amount is reasonable enough, we'll pay half, as the school has said the same thing. So this is a transfer from contingency account that would get returned to the general fund. So if the village decides not to proceed, the same thing would happen. So you would just, if the village proceeds and says this is reasonable, we want to proceed with the study, you have a project set up now. If you don't proceed, the funds will just go back to general fund. So either way, you're covered with it set up and established, but we really don't know the cost yet for it.
Right, and we look forward to working with the Portchester School District on this. I think it's certainly been something that we've discussed quite a bit with the Portchester School Board. We've had internal discussions as well. Just trying to find ways that we can make it safer around that area. And we know it becomes a congestion nightmare at the times when schools let out. We want to make sure that pedestrians are safe, and we look forward to seeing whether we have an appropriate bid on this, and if so, what the results are.
Yes.
Quick question. Have we ever done this before on that?
I've done it before. I've got experience doing traffic studies in and around schools with a joint project with the school. And it was great. It was really a good experience because when you take a project and you work with the schools, and you take away the boundaries, because a lot of the times the solutions are not just street improvements. The petitions are not just pedestrian improvements, or it's not just parking improvements. Some of it could be program improvements. It could be dismissal times that are staggered.
Right, okay.
There's different, so when you take away the boundaries and you work together with the schools and you see what suggestions you can make in and around the schools, whether it be on the street, whether it be on the sidewalks, or whether it be on the parking or the programs, you take away those boundaries and you can really come up with more creative solutions.
Right. I can see the point where you're saying about, like dismissal times.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Yeah, I could see that. So that study would incorporate.
That's what that incorporates, is looking at all that, taking away those boundaries and coming up with solutions that could hopefully make improvements in those areas.
And there was never a study done before?
No.
No.
Not in Rye Brook.
And certainly not recently. Nothing that would be relevant to the current conditions.
And I can show you some example of one I did previously in a previous life.
And this came up, this was brought to us by the Portchester School District.
No, it's good. No, I think it's great.
We
That's
suggest
it.
to this potential solution.
It's a solution that, but you can't
Very
just,
populated area.
and they were looking for, ways to improve it, and you can't just, say, we can't certainly
it.
just say, hey, let's do this. You need to really study it with the professionals and the experts so they can take a hard look at it to see what may be appropriate or may not be.
Or combination of items that may be.
Right, exactly. And we have to look at all options
What do you think
because
that
there
study
are a
would come
number
in
of
at?
things that could potentially
Don't
play
know.
into this.
What do you think that
Been a
cost would
while.
be?
It's a good question.
And we will see.
Okay.
Is there specific firms that do this, though?
Yes.
Correct? So
100%.
I'm sure they know what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I could show you some studies I've done. It's just been a while, so I don't know the current cost.
All right, any other questions or
No.
comments on the budget transfer?
Transfer away.
So we did the RFP, we let the school, shared everything with the school, they reviewed it as well, and they're due by the end of the month.
And then we may have a resolution on that.
Maybe?
So they have to fund it also.
Yes. It was theoretically set up as a 50-50 split. And the committees that would work with the consultant would have representation from the school and the village.
Right.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes?
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 14, considering designating the week of May 18th through 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services EMS Week and recognizing the Portchester Rye Brook EMS, Emergency Medical Service.
Okay, whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas EMS fills healthcare gaps by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative maintenance, medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine, and whereas the EMS system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatches, firefighters, police, educators, administrators, nurses, physicians, trade members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers, and whereas members of the emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of EMS providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week, and be it further, and whereas the Portchester Rye Brook EMS has served our community since 1968 and provides superior EMS service with over 6,000 annual calls and an average response time of less than 6 minutes. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees do hereby acknowledge the week of May 18th through the 24th as EMS Services Week and thank the Portchester Rye Brook EMS for all their continuing hard work, dedication, and service to the Rye Brook community.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion?
Second.
I don't think this is the first time we've done this.
No, this is an annual week that's designated nationally.
Gotcha. Do we, okay.
Happens to be, when you'll see on the next one,
No, I know.
it's the same week as Public Works.
No, I know. I just wonder whether, do we need, I mean, it certainly helps to recognize it by us passing this resolution, but do we have to pass this resolution every year, or is it just,
Well, it's the idea is to recognize them and
okay.
by passing
No,
a
I just didn't know
resolution
if
to
we're
help
automatically kind of doing it, by, setting it, once a holiday is set, it's set as that day. Is there, I guess the week may change. It's almost always the week leading up to Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
So it's,
It's a way to, and they try to do things at EMS as well as for Public Works, but for EMS, they do something different every day because other groups recognize them as well. So it's kind of like the week that EMS gets recognized through the nation. So they do, different providers will actually help recognize them or do something for the EMS each, they try to do something, I believe, each day of the week.
right. Okay. Well, I mean, we certainly, are happy to support this. This is obviously something that our residents depend on heavily. We have, I say this a lot about everything in Rye Brook, but we have one of the, if not the best, EMS in the area. I think we look at other municipalities and other communities in the surrounding areas, and the service that we have is far superior to some of the municipalities. And again, as Chris has often said, this is not a required service. This is not something that is mandatory, and
They're not considered essential in New York State, so it's not required to be provided.
right. And I would also again point
Scary.
out that we're lucky to have a village administrator who has gone to great lengths to help recognize the EMS professionals, not just in our area but throughout the state. And so we want to thank you as well, Chris.
Thank you.
But certainly thank you to the Portchester Rye Brook EMS and all that they do for the community, the three communities, and beyond.
Well said.
Any other questions or comments?
Trustee Epstein?
No, thank you again.
You said no, thank you.
I'm in.
Yes?
Yes, thank you.
No comments, but you're asked to vote.
Yes. So sorry. There's a lot tonight.
It is a long agenda.
Yes. Oh, Trustee Heiser?
Whatever she said, yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Resolution number 15, considering designating the week of May 28th to 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week and recognizing the Rye Brook Public Works and Parks Department staff.
Really got to coordinate.
Right.
Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high-quality life, and well-being of the people of the Village of Rye Brook. And whereas these improvements cannot be provided without dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children of the Village of Rye Brook to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and the public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas in the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association, be it now, and whereas the Village of Rye Brook Public Works and staff continues to provide professionalism and exemplary service for the residents of the Village of Rye Brook, maintain our roads, parks, and infrastructure to the highest level possible, given the available resources. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees do hereby designate the week of May 18th, 2024, May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. Be it further resolved that the Meriden Board of Trustees hereby expresses its appreciation to the dedication to the Rye Brook Public Works and Park staff who continue to provide exemplary services to the Rye Brook residents. And be it further resolved, the village urges all citizens to join with representatives of the APWA and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion.
please?
Second.
And again, this is, I think, you live in the Village of Rye Brook, you drive around the Village of Rye Brook, you do business in the Village of Rye Brook. You may not understand what goes into, keeping your way of life the way it is. Certainly, those of us on the board recognize everything that our Public Works Department does on a daily basis. People put leaves on the street, they see that one day the leaves, magically disappear. They have a pothole in their street, they see that one day it's magically filled. Earlier we were talking with leaves.
With the leaves. Kill two birds with one stone.
Earlier we were talking about the street openings and all the work that goes on with Con Ed. There's a lot the paving projects, a lot that goes into the maintenance of the buildings. There's so much that happens behind the scenes that a lot of people kind of take for granted, don't really know about, but it's the hardworking professionals that we have in the Village of Rye Brook that are keeping that going, keeping the village moving forward and making this a great place to live. So again, thank you to our Public Works employees. Michael, when's the barbecue? So, but again, thank you to everyone who being in the the garage, the DPW garage, seeing the guys out there on the Ice Cream Fridays, the concerts, the everything, all the different events that we do. They were there at the opening day. These are people who really care tremendously about the Village of Rye Brook, and we really appreciate that.
Very good.
I have only one objection to this resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Michael and his staff deserve their own week.
I have one question. Why don't we have a week as Board of Trustees week?
I go against that.
Can we make a resolution for that?
Doing that. Tuesday,
Okay, I
except
just.
for August and December.
All right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And for those who thought we were winding down, we're just getting started. All right, resolution number 16, considering a modification of the license and fee schedule.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves modifying the license and fee schedule for fiscal year 25-26, and there's three changes. There's a certificate of occupancy 0 to 20,000 in construction costs. The fee goes from 125 to 150. For CFOs from 20,000 to 50,000, goes from 200 to 225. And plumbing and installation over 5 fixtures goes from 150 to 175.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
And it's my we didn't need a second.
Second.
Thank you. It's my understanding this is just cleanup, Chris?
It is. So there was some, when we had it in the budget, there was a couple of fees that we had changed last year that weren't reflected there. So that was reflected on the adopted fee schedule, so it was being charged. But by these three adjustments, if you didn't make those changes, would have been less than what it would have. Basically, it cleans it up to make sure that there's a relative increase based on what the approvals were. So, yeah, it's a little confusing, but if you look at the fee schedule, you'll see the highlights on there where what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'll give you an example. There's only 3 items, but
Right. But I mean, what do we get? This
It's cleanup.
an actual change of fee. It's something that had been approved that wasn't necessarily.
yeah, and if you didn't make the change, it would actually be going down in those couple of areas,
Right.
which I don't think you want to do.
No, we do not. Okay. Questions or comments?
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 17, considering declaring municipal vehicles and police department equipment as surplus for sale.
Okay, whereas the Village of Rye Brook has vehicles and police equipment that are no longer of functional value or use to the village and may have resale value, and whereas the vehicles being listed for surplus are still in service and have current mileage may change, the service and mileage may change, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees declares the vehicles listed below as surplus, with these items to be published in the official paper and sold to the highest qualified bidder through an approved electronic bidding process with Auctions International, and there's one 2013 Ford Explorer, there's one 2014 Dodge Durango, and there's one police identification and encryption scanning, otherwise known as a RICKY system, which is basically a fingerprint system. And be it further resolved that if no bids are received, that items may be disposed of through appropriate measures. And be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second. What are the appropriate measures?
Yeah.
Garbage,
Junkyard.
scrap metal, garbage,
Yeah.
scrap.
A running vehicle, huh?
Huh? No, the vehicles will be purchased.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. They usually are. Although I think I know the place that purchases all of them because, if you're driving down, there's a place about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. If you're driving back from Wyndham, there's a place on one of these main, you know what I'm talking about. It's a place on one of these main roads that must have 400, 500 of these old police vehicles that are just sitting there. And
Yeah.
I don't know what they plan on doing with them, but they're all there.
I don't know, like on the fingerprint system, you just don't know what you're gonna, if you get a bite on it. It's an electronic fingerprint system.
Maybe
It
someplace
works.
somewhere that's
It
using that.
works. We got a
Right.
grant and replaced the one we have now, so we have a new system that has more bells and whistles, and it was paid for from a grant. But there may be a police department somewhere that could use it. It works. So, but that's the one you're not sure of that kind of stuff.
It's also
people
a
have been
great
on it.
decoy. Seriously. You put a police vehicle in front of a building where you've been having a lot of miscreants and stuff.
Right.
People will
Yeah.
assume the police are there.
Oh, that part, yeah.
Yeah.
So I say don't, if it doesn't sell, use it.
It's like a Potemkin police presence.
Yeah. The fingerprint system is the wild card there
Yeah,
on this list.
we'll see.
The cars will go.
Cars will go, yeah, they usually do. All right.
I agree with you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Never been a policeman.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes,
It's a deterrent.
thank you. Resolution number 18, considering approval of the minutes for the meeting held on March 11th, 2025.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the minutes for the meeting held on March 11th, 2025.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Those were some of my favorite minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's go. I don't have the energy.
How about the general?
I can, all in favor?
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right.
Voting on minutes, should you have a
We
second?
do have an add-on resolution, resolution number 19, considering appointments to the planning board.
Now therefore be it resolved that Lenny Weissman of 59 High Point Circle is appointed to the planning board for the term ending on the first Monday of April 2026. And be it further resolved that Edward Teague of 173 Country Ridge Drive is hereby appointed to the planning board for the term ending on the first Monday of April 2027.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Second.
As we've said many times, the Village of Rye Brook, while it has a great staff and everyone in every department is, what did we use before? Awesome, what did we say? Amazing. Was that the word? Right. So we are also very dependent upon our volunteer boards, of which there are many, including the one sitting here. And so when we put out notice recently that there were a number of vacancies on our boards, we were thrilled to see a great response to that. We received a number of responses, and we apologize if we haven't gotten to everyone. We're trying to find boards for everyone, and find places where they would like to volunteer their time. These are two individuals that came to our attention regarding the planning board, where we have a number of vacancies, partially because we keep stealing planning board members to come over here to this board, which we now have two serving, between Sal and Trustee Crum, who recently joined us. And so, we have to refill these important boards, and planning board being one of our voting boards. And, you know, that the decisions that they make have direct effects on the Village of Rye Brook and the residents of the Village of Rye Brook. And so we really appreciate them being willing to give their time. It is a big commitment to be on these boards, and so we, you know, for Lenny and Edward, we really thank you for being willing to give of yourself, give your time to help make Rye Brook a better place. And, you know, Trustee Heiser, I know you're the liaison to planning board, so.
Yeah, it has been very difficult just trying to get a quorum so that the planning board can conduct business. It's a 7-member board. They need at least 4 people there at every meeting, and it's been touch and go the last couple of months.
Well, now we're pretty full. Well, we got one more position vacant. Is that correct?
Not currently, no. So now right now we're full, but we anticipate that there may be another vacancy coming.
It will be.
So.
It's not anticipated. It definitely will be.
So that's good. So we appreciate everybody stepping up and sending in their resumes and showing their interest, and we'll get back to more people as time goes on here.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Actually, one more comment. I would say that, you know, we went through a little bit of a process. I sent emails and spoke to some of the people who specifically stated that they would like to be on planning board. And then the chairman of the planning board met with these individuals prior to us bringing this appointment before the village board. Okay, sorry.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you both for being willing to go into those positions. Administrator's report.
I just have a couple of items I wanted to mention and a couple of events. So just first, this Friday's ice cream event, which is sponsored by a donation from the Bailiwick Club. They've asked to move that to May 30th so that they don't compete with another school event. So again, we'll send emails out to the community, but this Friday's ice cream event, which we notified the public last Friday, or last Thursday or Friday, is going to be moved to May 30th. What's not moved, and we're all excited about, is this Saturday's Rye Brook Fit Walk, and that's this Saturday, May 17th, from 9 to 11 a.m., and you can register in advance. If for some reason you don't, please still come. We're going to be meeting, you can meet at the lower parking lot at Ridge Street School, and this is part of the initiative that was started by Trustee Epstein, and to get more exercise and to encourage exercise and community gatherings. And it's been a nice, successful event every year, and this has become a nice annual event at before as the weather's turned and gotten better, and people are getting out and about. So that's great. We're looking forward to it. Pickleball courts at Garibaldi. There was a meeting with the contractor. We were hoping that they were going to be done this month, but it looks like they're going to be starting early June now because the weather delayed a little bit. This rain has put them back a project. We're the second in line, and they're just going to be a little bit delayed, but first week in June should take effect. Just found that out today. The leaf blower ban is currently in effect, so just a reminder, that's from May 1st to June 1st. No gas-powered leaf blowers can be used. You have to use either electric or battery. And if people see that people are not doing that, you can call the police department and they'll respond and make sure there's not, that's not going on. Again,
The other thing they could use.
May
Chris,
1st to October 1st. Sorry,
Chris,
thank you.
The other thing they could use is a rake.
Yes, or a rake. Yes, you are 100% right.
The way it used to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, we mentioned this before to the board, but we're pleased to report that the state has allowed municipalities, now it will no longer, as of July 1st of this year, municipalities will not have to pay the MTA payroll tax in Westchester County, as well as some of the other counties in our surrounding area. So we're pleased. That'll save the village about $30,000 a year, and that's something that the school districts didn't have to pay. And there's been a big push from NICOM and other agencies to say municipalities should not be paying the MTA tax as well, and the state has put that into their budget that was just approved. So that's good news for the municipalities and saves us a little bit of money for the taxpayers in our community.
Thank you, Chris. Any comments from members of the public? Seeing none, the next meetings for the village board will be on May 27th and June 10th, 2025. I know this was a long agenda. We actually got through it pretty quickly, I think, though. I mean, it's not, and again,
We've
you
done
know,
worse.
thank you to, and, you know, when we have this many items, you know, it's the village getting a lot of business done is really what this is, and, you know, we thank everyone, you know, Chris, Greg, Michael, thank you for being here, and of course, thank you to our police force for the nice ceremony earlier, and it's great to see us getting back up to our full complement. So, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What happened to this?